Hey y'all, this is Louisiana Long. Been away quite a long time. And this is Katie. I said ages ago I would bring you a preview of Katie and things that I've done or am in the process of doing. And I just got out of the interest of riding since our dirt bike trails have been closed for 6 months due to rain and more rain. So I thought I'd bring her out and do a quick review and let y'all take a look. So Katie is a 2016 Africa Twin DCT. I love the bike. Few things I don't like, which is always a problem with me with a 29-inch inseam. I have a height problem for getting my feet on the ground, so there have been a few modifications done for that purpose, as we'll get to in the course of this review. Let's start at the front. I haven't changed anything on the brakes with the exception of going to braided steel brake lines. Those brake lines came as part of a kit that I got from Camel, and the purpose of that was to raise the front fender, because that fender was getting caught. The mud here is like gorilla snot, and it is clay and slippery. And besides that, I like the look of the higher front fender, but it definitely works better. So that was all part of one kit. I had to purchase the fender separately, which most of the fenders that you get today are the motocross type fenders, and I don't like those. So I like the rounded nose that this one has, and so I went with the XR650L circa 2009-2010. And as you can see, it's kind of wide, but that's okay. It keeps this mud and rocks from flinging up at you. Windshield is still stock. For long trips where I have more road time, I might get into a taller, wider windshield. Not sure yet about what I'm going to do there, but I did go with the windscreen adjustable bracket from wait one, he's back. So the windshield support, which is Batson, and he was real good to work with. Thing was in the States in like 10 days. Excellent product, works great, easily slidable. You can just loosen these 4 knobs, slide it up and down. Total about, I don't know, 3 inches, maybe 4 inches. Works well, does the job. Protection, crash bars. I went with what I viewed online as to be a good setup, and I have since decided they're not that good a setup, and that is the alt-rider system. I have a number of complaints about them. One is they bend really easy, and the second one, which was the first thing I noticed, was that in the course of just putting on the clamps for the support for upper and lower bar, the supposed paint, which is powder coat, they say, and I've worked with a lot of powder coat in my life, is not very good powder coat. I've only got about 2,500–3,000 miles on them, and besides the fact that they scratch easily, if you can see that, the paint's coming off. Not good. So those I will eventually change. And while I'm at it with Alt-Rider, I also put their rear pillion replacement seat on, or not seat, but a blank plate to replace the seat, and I had to do some bending just to get that to fit. So no Alt-Rider for me. The bash plate down below, and I did have to do some cutting on it to make it fit proper after doing the crash bars. I had originally done the bash plate when I first got it. That's from the boys at B&B in Australia. I've had their stuff on other equipment and it works great. Same thing you can see in there, the radiator guards. That's also from B&B. Going up top here, after a fall over, which was not even moving, just making a U-turn and doing about 1 mile an hour, and I fell over. This bar bent in, but I also broke the factory handguard, so I replaced them with bark busters, which I had kind of planned on doing anyway. And they work fairly good. Haven't really had to test them, which is good, I guess. These front lights are just little small pencil beams, and they're, who are they? I don't remember. I'll think of it. Might say on it, rigid. That's right, rigid. They're rigids. So I like rigid stuff. It comes with good non wet or extreme wet weather clamp connectors. Keep the water out. They give you plenty of length. Work really well. I have them on my other bike, except larger ones. I went with the factory 12-volt power source, but also added on a 12-volt and cigarette lighter type and a 5-volt USB charger to help with any kind of electronics that I have, which I've got a few on here now. Also went with the rocks risers because I wanted to not only raise the bars up a little bit, because I am torso high, leg short, torso high, but I also wanted to roll them back towards me a little bit, and they worked out pretty good. Haven't had to change the cables or wires or anything. So and that's about 1 3/4 inches. I changed grips just recently, trying to get something that would be more softer to the touch than the stock Honda ones, and I'm just playing right now. These are both motocross type grips where you've got this is the waffle and that's the pillow, and I really like the pillow better, so I'm probably going to go to pillow on both sides. The mirrors I actually took off my other bike, and that's a what are those? That's a don't remember. It's in one of them catalogs, but they work good. They don't crack, they don't break. They have been falling on quite a bit on other bike, and no problems. Needed bigger pegs, so I went with the pivot pegs, which I like. I have them on my dirt bike. I still haven't figured out what I'm going to do with the brake lever. I don't have good use of my right knee, and with a high instep on my feet and short feet, I get real problems trying to use the foot brake levers, and they don't work well for me. So eventually I will devise a way to put a left-hand rear brake on this. I have one on my dirt bike and it works really well. Another thing I added was the cruise control. Now this one was really more of an actual cruise control. This is Breakaway's product, and when you turn it, you push it here, it locks it, but if you pull the brake or push this, it releases. So there's none of this panicking trying to roll it back like some of these brake lock or accelerator locks that you get. This one works a lot more naturally as a genuine cruise control, say, or throttle lock. In the way of bags, I've got Wolfman tank and the Wolfman pillion bag, and I like them. They work good. The only thing is they're expensive and they don't come with rain covers, so you got to buy those separate. Now these I just put on. These are the Kreger System, which are soft bags, and they attach to these plates, which are part of their system, and I like them. I like the whole functionality of them. They come off and on easy. They got plenty of capacity, and they're lightweight. So I think overall, I think that's going to be a good fit for this baby. And that's probably all I'll do, except for having some kind of a dry bag that I'll carry my tent and that kind of stuff in as I go camping. I haven't done anything to suspension yet, but I will be doing that. I did put off of eBay a larger foot on the kickstand. I have the factory double spring center stand, which works really well. A bitch to get on, but it works really well. I recently attached some extra gas with a just doing the normal 1.7 gallon roto pack, I think it is, and I think that'll be enough to get me most everywhere. Now the fun stuff, the things I like to play with. I went with header back with oxygen sensor, full stainless Akrapovic system. I have not pulled the baffles out, but I do have a Power Commander 5 with auto tune with the wideband lambda sensor, and I just recently put on the Dyna Jet POD3, which gives me adjustability on the run of being able to see and map and basically know what the motor's doing at all different times, because I'm a guy that likes to play with motors and play with stuff of that kind of thing. That's why I will do suspension too. I like playing with stuff. And don't give me all that bull about, ow, leave it alone, Honda made it the way they wanted it and it works good and blah 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 blah. I don't fucking care. I like to play. It's my bike. I like to play, and that's what I'm going to do. I have the Metzler, what are those? Metzler's the Kroo3 front and rear tires. Now they work pretty good. They're not too drastically noisy on the street riding, and they're not too bad with riding in the wet, although I haven't been doing as much riding in the wet lately as I used to, but they seem pretty good. I think the next tires, though, I may go the Tractionator just to see what the difference is like. These did, or at least the front did, pack up really bad when I tried to go out last week, and it was so muddy. And this road out here turns into a quagmire with how much of the clay just turns into deep trenches and goes way deep down, and it's a real fight. And so I might change that and go a little more aggressive. I did put on this little 12-volt connector here, this 12-volt connector here. This one is strictly for my heated clothing. This one will charge the bike, or I can run something off of it if I need to. It goes directly to the battery. The heated clothing one goes inside and goes to a multi-connector, the fuse block from Eastman Beaver, I believe it is. And boy, that's a nice little setup. That is a very well thought out, well put together piece of equipment. A little bit troublesome to wire and that sort of thing because of running wires under the tank and all, so it's best if you're going to do it to have the tank and all off, which is a major project in itself. So I kind of planned that out after I decided what I was going to do, and then just ran a harness through with some extra wires, and I've got some extra wires up front hanging. The rigid beam lights I've got on there, I've got the switch for it. I just haven't taken everything back apart. Plant it right there instead of this switch here, which is what I have those beams on right now. I got the other GPS support because of people having fracture problems with the stock one from putting any weight up there. So I got that from Corey at Camel also. I like Corey. His videos are good. His follow-up is good. He is easy to talk to, email back and forth, and get your questions answered. So his products I can highly support. Just recently put on, to save these forks as much as possible, I put some gator covers on, and then some socks, so kind of help keep the debris out of there. I also put a Kouba Link. You see it down in there maybe? Let me see if I can search it out. Anyway, Kouba Link for the rear suspension to drop it down. It only comes down about 5/8 to 3/4 of an inch, but it was enough with a factory low seat to get me to where I'm comfortable on the ground. I don't love it, but it's comfortable. I'm running AMSOIL 2050 because it is hot out here all the time. Right now, while I'm out on this back roads, I'm running 20 pounds in the front, 25 pounds of air in the rear. I am going to go, I've got heavy duty tubes in there, but I am going to go to the tubeless system like I have on my dirt bike when I need to change tires again. I know they're not road rated, but I'm going to give them a try and see what I get. Pivot Pegz, like those on my other bike. I'm still not totally sure that I like them on here. I have to play with that a little bit more, and maybe I'll get another pair of just regular dirt bike pegs and see what I get. But that'll have to come in time. I'm just gonna have to see about that, figure out what I like and what I don't like. Everything on the Africa Twin I like. I like the style, I like how it feels. Plenty of power. If that's not enough power for you, well, you need to go out and go road racing, because there's something wrong with you. And go ahead. You can yell and throw things and do all the stuff you want to do on the videos, in the comments section, because guess what, folks? I don't care. I don't pay attention to it. It don't bother me a lick. So there she is. That's Katie. And if I think of something else, I'll bring it up. But for now, y'all have a good one. Oh, and P.S. to my last. I'll put down in the comment section or description section a list of everything that I've got on here. And I did forget to mention I put K&N air filters on her. And I'm a long-time user of K&Ns. And love them. Again, that's it. See ya.